navaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to this session on the Gita. We are in the middle of the 9th chapter, and maybe today or tomorrow we will hit the halfway mark of 350 shlokas. Excuse me. 350 shlokas, and then that's not really the halfway mark. Actually, we are more than the halfway mark because we will go a little faster in the 10th, 11th chapters. A lot of it is more description rather than explanation. So I just have to tell you the meaning and we can go ahead. So today I think Gauri had signed up for recitation, but I don't see her. So maybe until she shows up, I'll request Hamsa to repeat the verses. Yeah, thank you, Hamsa. So let me share my screen. We were at 9:12, right? How the activities of people who are lacking insight and they're confused, they disregard the supreme in human form, and they have unreal hopes and trivial knowledge. They resort to all sorts of wicked activities. Now, what is the other side of the story? We saw the problematic people. What about the great people? Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajantyananya manaso jnatva bhutadim avyayam. So the great souls who abide in divinity are aware that I am the eternal source of all beings, and they've worshipped me with singular focus. Partha, Arjuna, Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha Ananya Manasaha Mahatmanaha. So, the Mahatmanaha, the great souls, the noble people, they have singular focus. Ananya Manasaha. So, Ananya, nothing else, peerless Manasaha. So, their minds are not distracted. A singular focus. Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. They have taken refuge in divinity, in the divine nature, and to bhutadim avyayam mam jnatva. So they know me as the foremost of all beings, the source of all beings, and that I am indestructible. Knowing this, mam jnatva, knowing this, mam bhajanti. So to be understood that they worship me, having learned. So it's not, so whenever we say worship, it is not a blind faith or something which is done with absolutely no reason. So when I explained the word Shraddha, I told you Shraddha is not blind faith. It is a certain suspension of disbelief for a time, and then you cultivate that faith as the results keep accumulating. So you go to a doctor, initially you don't know how good or bad he or she is. But when the medication is effective, you are getting cured, and the interaction with the doctor was good, they treated you well, and you had a good recovery phase, then you develop more faith. So tomorrow when something else happens, you develop faith that they will guide you. Now, faith is something where there is certain amount of, you're taking certain leap of faith, right? Now, just because a doctor gave you the right medication today does not mean that 1 month later, when you go with a different disease, again, he or she will be able to diagnose it well. There's no guarantee. Every single time you have to experiment and check. But after a couple of experiences, you tend to extrapolate, you tend to cultivate some faith. So any worship, any faith is a result of certain past experiences. It is not something which is blind. So therefore, it's important here that he says, Daivim Prakriti Ashritaha. They know they are these great people, Mahatmanaha. The adjectives to them are those who are not distracted, who have singular focus, who are abiding in divinity. Then Bhutadim Avyayam Mam Jnatva, knowing me as the eternal source of all beings, knowing me as indestructible, they worship me after they realize. So there is a qualification for the Supreme, there is a qualification for the devotee. So when both these conditions are checked, then the worship happens. So it is important to realize that it is not a blind faith which is operating here. Okay, is Gauri here? Not here? Okay, then request Hamsa. Mahatmanastu mam partha.
Mahatmanastu mam partha.
Daivim prakritim ashritaha.
Daivim prakritim ashritaha.
Bhajantyananya manaso.
Bhajantyananya manaso.
Jnatva bhutadim avyayam.
Jnatva bhutadim avyayam.
Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. So, going further, these great souls, these great Mahatmas, they glorify me, they honor me with intense devotion and worship me with firm resolve, he says. Dridha vrataha, so with very rigid undertakings, with intense vows. So firm resolve, dridha vrataha, satatam kirtayantaha. So they're always engaging in, you know, praising or glorifying the Supreme. Yatantaha. So they are toiling towards that. They are very tuned towards that. Yatantaha mam namasyantaha. So they are worshipping, they're bowing down to the Supreme. Cha nitya yuktaha. So they're always, connected. Nitya yuktaha. They're always controlled, self-controlled. And they are always connected with the Supreme. Bhaktya, by the devotees, mam upasate, I am worshipped. So these great souls who realize the importance of the Supreme, who have that overflowing gratitude for what they have received, when they realize that, see, gratitude is something which you realize the importance of that at different stages, right? Now, today you may have gratitude as, let's say, as a 20-year-old, you have certain gratitude for your grandfather or grandmother who is maybe at their 80s. Later, you say 10, 20 years down the line when you're 40 and your grandparents are gone, and you realize that they had this role in building a house for you in which you're staying, your gratitude increases. You say, oh my God, they not only raised me, they also gave me this house in which I'm living. Then later you realize when little older, when you're in your 60, that your grandfather or grandmother was a great scholar in some field and they've written a book and they've educated so many people, etc., etc. So your gratitude goes up. Oh my God, they're such great people. We didn't know because this is not our field and so on. Over the course of your life, you're same person, you know this person, but the gratitude increases because you know more and more about them. Sometimes it may be the other way around also. You may be very grateful for your parents, and later when you're in your 30s, you realize they died, leaving you some huge debts you have to repay. Gratitude may also come down. But in the case where the gratitude is going up towards some person, is because of more knowledge, more information available about them, right? So similarly, in the case of the bhakta, as they realize more and more that everything is interconnected, our entire existence is because of the grace of the Supreme Being, and so on, then they naturally glorify that divinity, and they honor. How do they honor that divine being? How do you honor a divine being, or how do you honor somebody? With devotion, with intense devotion, respect and worship. Satatam kirtayanto mam.
Satatam kirtayanto mam.
Yatantascha dridhavrataha.
Yatantascha dridhavrataha.
Namasyantascha mam bhaktya.
Namasyantascha mam bhaktya.
Nitya yukta upasate.
Nitya yukta upasate.
Then he says, Jnana yagnena chapyanye yajanto mam upasate ekatvena prithaktvena bahudha vishvato mukham. So there are some other people who are engaged in Jnana Yajna, which is cultivation of knowledge, which is cultivation of wisdom. Now, these people who are engaged in Jnana Yajna worship me as the one, the distinct, and the supreme present manifested everywhere. So, so people who are engaged in Jnana Yajna, which is the cultivation of knowledge, the teaching of knowledge, so which is the path of Jnana, they have a different perspective on the divine. So they worship the divine as one, as a single, all-pervading Brahman. They worship the Brahma. They worship the Supreme as distinct, which the Brahman takes different forms based on the situation, and as the Supreme Presence that is manifested everywhere. So they have a different approach to the same end result, but the path is different. Anyecha, as other people, as far as there are some other people, Vishwato Mukham Mam Jnana Yagnena. So they realize that the Supreme is Vishwato Mukha, all pervasive, manifested everywhere. Jnana Yagnena, through the process of Jnana Yagna, Ekatvena Prataktvena. So they see the Supreme as one, they see it as distinct and as individual manifestations everywhere. So they see it as one and they see it as separate also. Bahudha yajantaha api upasate. So they see it as one, they see it as many, and they worship that supreme presence. They worship that divine being. The ones who are devotees, they sing the glories. They are honoring the supreme being with intense devotion. Those engaged in the Jnana Marga are realizing that it is the same one which is manifested everywhere, manifested differently, and the supreme presence is all pervasive. So here, this one verse itself tells you that Bhagavad Gita is not bound by any one school of philosophy. If you are an Advaiti, you can definitely find something in Bhagavad Gita. If you are a Vishishtadvaiti, if you are a Dvaiti, you can take refuge in Bhagavad Gita. So Gita does not fit itself in any school. It has given its pronouncements, and any school of philosophy can take from the Gita, but not all verses of the Gita will be suitable for one school of philosophy. So just like in the case of individuals, not all the verses of Gita will be relevant to one individual, but there will be something in it for every individual. This is we have to realize. So there is a lot of attempt by the commentators and the Bhashyakaras to force fit Gita into some school of philosophy. Now, one school of philosophy may be far superior than the other school, or one school of philosophy may be more coherent and comprehensive when compared to another school. Let us say, for example, the school of philosophy called Vedanta is definitely more comprehensive, coherent, and superior to the school of philosophy called as Lokayata or Charvaka, which is materialism. But materialism also is a school of philosophy only. But it is only dealing in the material plane, and it is therefore very limited. Vedanta, for example, is far superior to this school. But there is something in it even for a person who is a materialist. There is something in it for a person who adheres to Sankhya, somebody who adheres to yoga. So everybody has something from the Gita. Jnana yagnena chapyanye.
Jnana yajnena chapyanye.
Yajanto mam upasate.
Yajanto mam upasate.
Ekatvena prithaktvena.
Ekatvena prithaktvena.
Bahudha vishwato mukham.
Bahudha vishwato mukham.
Then Krishna says, Aham kraturaham yajnaha swadaham aham aushadham mantroham aham evajyam aham agniraham hutam. I am the ritual, I am the yajna, I am the mantra, I am the offering that nourishes and heals, I am the fuel and I am the fire. Now, where have you seen such a verse before? In the fourth chapter. You remember in the fourth chapter, in the 24th shloka of the fourth chapter, we had a similar verse which talks about the Brahman being all pervasive, all aspects of the yajna. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhina. So Brahman is the offering, Brahman is the oblation, it is the fire to which Brahman makes the offering. Brahman is indeed attained by one who is absorbed in action, which is also Brahman. Same thing is casted in slightly different words, where instead of Brahman, he says Aham, me, I. So the equation between Brahman and Krishna is very clear. We also have the Aham Atma Gudakesha, but here it is again with the case of an example we see very clearly. So here Aham Kratuhu, I am the ritual. Aham Yajnaha, I am the Yajna. So Kratuhu is probably to be taken as the larger, broader idea of ritual. Yajna is a specific kind of ritual. Aham Swadha, I am the offering. Aham Aushadam, I am the herb, the medicinal herb that is offered to in the yajna. I am Aham Mantra, I am the mantra. We recite certain Vedic mantra along with the ritual. So I'm the mantra. Aham Ajyam, I am the the ghee or the clarified butter. So we have multiple kinds of butter. Basically, it's made from milk, right? Clarified butter. So if it is made from the goat's milk, it is called ajya. If it is made from cow's milk, it is called grita. So many times ajya was used in the yajna. So aham ajyam, aham agni, I am the fire, aham uttam, I am the havis offering, whatever is done. So again, all the aspects of yajna are equated with Sri Krishna. And we have seen earlier that yajna is an intricate fire ritual where there are altars, brick altars, which are made, fire is cultivated, and it is open to air. Fire will go up. And the Agni is in three forms, Garhapatya, Dakshina, and Ahavaniya. That I always get confused which is what, but there's one which is a square shaped altar, there is a circular shaped altar, and there is a semicircular shaped altar, which is representing the three states. One is Bhu, Bhuva, and Suvaha. So the earth, the kind of semi-divine, and the divine, like three states of three domains, if you would say. Then there are different deities that are propitiated in the yajna. Agni is both a deity and the messenger to take our offerings to the deities. Then medicinal herbs and the ghee, which is or the clarified butter, which is the fuel for the fire to keep burning. Then we also add certain twigs of the people tree, which is the samit, and other offerings, grains that are fried and then cooked. Then the juice of the soma plant. And if it's a Pashu Yajna, then animals also are offered. And certain specific mantras are recited from the Veda. And mantra also refers to the formative thought behind the recited verses. Then there are different 16 ritviks, who will officiate the. And each of these are groups of 4. Each person has a certain responsibility. So, for example, there are a group of ritviks called Adhvaryu, who will be like the managers. They are the managers of the yajna. They will ensure all the supplies are in place. They will ensure everything is in order. Then there are ritviks who will be in the Brahmasthana. Brahmasthana, one was the Brahma, he is called. He will just sit there. He will not move. He is the supervisor. He will ensure that everything is happening. Then we have the Hotra and the Udgatra. Like this, we have different 4 groups of priests. So the yajna, and then there will be some singing and dancing, storytelling sessions, food, so many activities. It's almost like a community celebration. Although it is conducted by husband and wife, Yajamana and Patni will conduct the yajna with the officiation done by the Ritviks. But it is a community event where all the people, and it can be a family event, it can be community event, depending on who is the Yajamana, it will change. Here, all the distinct elements of yajna are recognized as embodiments of the Supreme Being. Aham kraturaham yajna.
Aham kraturaham yajnah.
Swadaham aham aushadham.
Swadhahamaham aushadham.
Mantroham aham evajyam.
Mantroham ahamevajyam.
Aham agnir aham hutam.
Aham agniraham hutam.
Then he says, Pitaham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitram omkara riksama yajurevacha. So I am also the father, the mother, the grandfather, and the protector of this universe. I am the purpose of knowledge. I am the one who purifies. I am the sacred syllable Om. I am the Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda. So Asya Jagataha, of this world, Pita, father, Mata, mother, Dhata, protector, Pitamaha is grandfather. Pitamaha is father's father, typically grandfather, but paternal grandfather. Vedyam, Pavitram. So I am the one who purifies. I am the Vedyam. I am the purpose of knowledge. I am the one who purifies. Omkaraha. I am the sacred syllable Om. And Rik Sama Yajuhu Cha Ahameva. I am indeed the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda, the Yajur Veda. Traditionally, there were 3 Vedas, Rig, Sama, and Yajus. Later on, it became 4 with the addition of Atharva Veda. Basically, these 3 Vedas represent 3 types of expression. In language, generally, we have 3 types of expression. One is the expression in the form of verse, which is having a certain poetic meter in verse. So these verses are known as riks. Rik is a verse. So Rig Veda is got a lot of verses together. So it is in the form of verse. Yajus refers to prose. So we have verse and we have prose, running text, right? So Yajur Veda has a lot of prose section. It also has verse, but it has a lot of prose section. And Sama Veda primarily has what is called Saman, which is song. So in any language, 3 ways of expression typically are prose, verse, and song. So that is represented by the Yajur Veda. Prose is Yajur Veda, verse is Rig Veda, and song is in Sama Veda. Then Atharva Veda has specific mantras which are revealed to the Rishi Atharvan. And the foremost of these is the Rig Veda, from which the other Vedas, some of them like Sama Veda, is largely Rig Veda, which is recited in a certain musical pattern. And from that, even the Yajurveda developed, but then Yajurveda went in a different direction. It had also 2 branches. And well, those are technical details, but it's important to know that we say Chaturveda, why only 3 are here? Because traditionally there were 3. Later, a 4th one got added. So it's just some trivia for you. Okay. Pitaham asya jagato.
Pitahamasya jagato.
Mata dhata pitamaha.
Mata dhata pitamaha.
Vedyam pavitram omkara.
Vedyam pavitram omkara.
Rik sama yajurevacha.
Rik sama yajurevacha.
Then Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit Prabhavaha Pralayaha Sthanam Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. So a whole list of things he rattles out here. I'm the Lord, the friend, the witness of all beings. I'm creation, dissolution, and existence. I'm the everlasting seed and sustainer. I'm the goal, the abode, the refuge, and the final resting place. So basically, how Brahman is all pervasive, every aspect can be taken under Brahman. So Ahameva is to be understood. Gatihi, I'm the kind of last, I'm the resort. I am the kind of the state, the path that is available. Bharta, I'm the Lord, and the ruler. Prabhu, the kind of again supreme ruler. Sakshi, witness. I'm just I'm also the witness. So he's the supreme being is the Lord, the witness, the refuge. Then Nivasaha, is a abode, the place of residence. Sharanam, the refuge. Suhrit, friend. Prabhavaha, the creation. Pralayaha, which is dissolution. Sthanam, existence, position. And Nidhanam, which is the resting place, final resting place. Avyayam, the indestructible, eternal Bijam, the seed. So all these different things. So the Lord, friend, witness, creation, existence, dissolution, the sustainer, the everlasting seed, the goal, the abode, the refuge, and final resting place. All these things are associated with Sri Krishna. Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi.
Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi.
Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit.
Nivasa Sharanam Sahrit.
Prabhavaha Pralayah Sthanam.
Prabhavaha Pralaya Sthanam.
Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam.
Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam.
Tapamyaham aham varsham nigrinhami utsrajami cha amritam chaiva mrityuscha sadasachaham arjuna. So it continues, he says, I radiate warmth, I send forth and also hold back rain. I am both immortality and death. I am Sat, what is, and Asat, what is not. Arjuna, Aham tapami, so I radiate warmth. Aham varsham grinhami, aham utsrajami cha. I withhold grinhami, I withhold rain, and I also release, send forth rain. Utsrajami, I grant rain and I hold it back. Ahameva amritam cha mrityuho. I am immortality and I am death. Cha sat asat cha. I am sat, that is existence, what is, and asat, non-existence, what is not. All these things are seen as manifestation of the divine. Tapamyaham aham varsham.
Tapamyaham aham varsham.
Nigrinham yutsrijami cha.
Nigrinham yutsrujami cha.
Amritam chaiva mrityuscha.
Amritam chaiva mrityuscha.
Sadasachaham Arjuna.
Sadasachaham Arjuna.
Then he says, Traividya mam somapaha puta papa. Traividya mam somapaha puta papa yajnairishtva swargatim prarthayante te punyam asadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. So again, big verse, right? We are used to short verses. Now suddenly there's a big verse, which is in Trishtup. So you can see the change. Now, when more things have to be said or if something is grander in import, suddenly there's a change in the poetic meter. He says, those who are well versed in the three principal Vedas, Traividya, three principal Vedas, who relish Soma and are cleansed of Papa, they honor me through Yajna with the desire to go to Swarga, the heavens. By the Punya gained, they reach Swarga, the domain of Indra, and they enjoy the celestial pleasures for some time. Right? Traividyaha, those who are knowledgeable in the three Vidyas, which is the three Vedas, primarily in this case, the three principal Vedas, Rik, Sama, and Yajus. The people who are knowledgeable on the three Vedas, Somapaha, those who enjoy drinking this. Soma is a kind of plant, and when the yajna happens, they crush that plant and they make a juice out of it. So that was the reward, immediate reward of doing the yajna, performing the yajna. So Somapaha, Puta Papa. So their papas, papa is like it is sin or crime or guilt or evil. All those things, the papas are cleansed, they are purified, cleansed of the papa, puta papa, swargatim ishtva yajnaihi mam prarthayante. So with the desire of going to Swarga, with the desire of attaining Swarga, they worship the Supreme, they worship Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, by performing yajna. Then what happens? Te punyam, with the punya or the merit, the religious merit that is accumulated, Surendra Lokam, the realm of Indra, the domain of Indra. Sura is the Devas, and the king of the Suras is called Surendra, which is another name for Indra. So Surendra Lokam Asadhya Divi Divyan Deva Bhogan Ashnati. So they attained Surendra Loka, Asadhya, having attained Divyan Deva Bhogan Ashnati. So in that domain of Indra, in that Swarga or heaven, they enjoy the celestial pleasures, all the pleasures that there are in the celestial realm, they enjoy those celestial pleasures. So, Trividya Mam Somapaha Puta Papa
त्रैविद्या मां सोमपाः पूतपापा
Yajnairištva Swargatim Prarthayante
यज्ञैरिष्ट्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते
Te Punyamasadya Surendra Lokam
ते पुण्यमासाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम्
Ashnanti Divyan Divideva Bhogan.
अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देव भोगान्.
He says, Tetam Bhuktva Swargalokam Vishalam Kshine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti Evam Trayi Dharmam Anuprapanna Anuprapanna Evam Trayi Dharmam Anuprapanna Gatagatam Kama Kama Labhante. So, having enjoyed this wide world of Swarga, they return to earth once their punya is exhausted. Again, impelled by the desire for the pleasures of Swarga, they resort to the meritorious rites prescribed in the Vedas, and thus they are caught in the birth of, they're caught in a cycle of birth and death, the samsara chakra. So, they're caught in the cycle of birth, death, rebirth, again death, again rebirth, and they go in this cycle. So te tam vishalam swargalokam bhuktva, that having all of them having enjoyed the wide world of Swarga, Vishalam, it is expansive, it is immense, infinitely large, right? Vishalam swargalokam bhuktva, having enjoyed punye kshine, with the punya. So all the you go to Disneyland, you have some money, you go on some rides, and at the end of the thing, when your wallet is empty, you have to come out of Disneyland. They won't let you ride more rides in Disneyland if you don't have money, right? So it's like your parents have given you $100 or $50 or 500 rupees or whatever. You go to Wonderla or whatever this place, enjoy. After that money gets exhausted, you can't stay there any further. You have to come out. Same way, you have all the punya points accumulated here. You go to Swarga, you use up all your punya points, and then punye kshine, with all the punya going away, martyalokam vishanti. So they return to the realm of the mortal domain. So Martyalokam, the world of humans, so they come back here. Evam trayi dharmam anuprapannaha. So, and whatever has been prescribed in the Vedas, they adhere to all those practices, and kama kamaha gata gatam labhante. So they are desirous to attain Swarga once again, and Gata Gatam. So what they basically going and coming. So birth, death, rebirth. This cycle, they get caught in this cycle. So Tetam Bhuktva Swargalokam Vishalam.
तेतं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालं
Kshine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti.
क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति
Evam Trayi Dharmam Anuprapanna.
एवं त्रयी धर्ममनुप्रपन्ना
Gatagatam Kama Kama Labhante.
गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते
Ananyaschintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. A very famous shloka. And this yogakshemam vahamyaham is also kind of the motto, Dheya Vakya of the Life Insurance Corporation of India, if you remember. So he says, those who are eternally devoted to me and think of me alone, I provide them with what they desire and preserve what they already possess. And I will completely look after their welfare. So, ye ananyaha janaha, the other people who are, peerless, mam chintayantaha, those who are always thinking about me, paryupasate, they are always devoted to me, they're worshipping me. Nityabhiyuktanam, they're always connected with me. They are always, all their thoughts are on the Supreme. Tesham, of them, yoga kshemam. So, yoga is fulfillment of or attaining what we desire, getting new things, and kshema is preserving what we already have. So, all of us desire yoga and kshema. Many times in the common usage, we say yoga kshema as one word, but there are two different words. Aham vahami, I will take care, I will completely look after their yoga kshema. So, yoga and kshema. Yoga is acquiring new things that we desire. Kshema is protecting old things that we had acquired. So, preserving what has been acquired is important, and acquiring and obtaining new things is important for most people, right? So, yoga is important, kshema is important. Without kshema, whatever is attained may go away. And without yoga, only you will have what you have attained in the past. So, you need both to fulfill your desires. And the people who are eternally devoted to the Supreme and think of the Supreme alone, think of Krishna alone, what will be the nature of those people? They have realized the highest level. So, therefore, they will be always fulfilled because their thoughts are completely on the Supreme Being, which is the Brahman. So, they are Brahmajnanis. So, therefore, they don't need anything. Their desires are fulfilled automatically. So, therefore, it is no surprise that the Supreme will provide them with what they desire and preserve what they already possess, because they don't have any other desires. They don't have any great expectations because they are completely immersed in the highest level. So, naturally, they are protected by their own situation, and that assurance also is there. Even if somebody is very devoted, may not be 100%, and thinks of the Supreme, not all the time, but most of the time, then even then there is the assurance that he will be taken care of. So just like he made the assurance to Arjuna in the 6th chapter, that a person who has good intentions and does good work will not come upon evil, that assurance he gives. Similarly, here he says, those who have complete focus and are eternally devoted to the Supreme Being and they think of the Supreme Being at all times, they are fulfilled within themselves. Their desires will be fulfilled, their yoga and kshema will be completely taken care of. So, ananyas chintayanto mam.
Ananyas chintayanto mam.
Ye janah paryupasate.
ये जनाः पर्युपासते
Tesham nityabhiyuktanam.
तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां
Yogakshemam vahamyaham.
योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्.
So now you understand why it is the Dheya Vakya of the Life Insurance Corporation. So they are like, don't worry, we will take care of you at any point. The next one, he says, Yepyanya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajantyavidhi purvakam. So even those who only worship other divinities, other gods, in essence are worshipping me, though they are unaware of it. So Kaunteya, Arjuna, ye bhaktaha, those devotees, api shraddhaya anvitaha anya devataha yajante. So the other devotees who very, very faithfully, who with shraddha, with devotion, they are anya devataha yajante. So they are worshipping other deities, whether they worship, Hanuman or Ganapati, they may be worshipping Shakti, they they may be worshipping Shiva, they may be worshipping Vishnu, or Subramanya, or any other deity, right? We have so many deities in our tradition. So any of these deities who are worshipping any of the devatas, you may be even worshipping Indra or Agni or Matareshwa or Marut or the Vasus, any deity. So many are there, right? Although, yeah, as long as they are worshipping that deity with the supreme faith and focus, they are essentially worshipping Krishna, or they're essentially worshipping the Brahman, though they are unaware of it. Because the important thing here is when that intense state of devotion, whether you are devoted to Brahma or whether you are devoted to Vishnu or to Hanuman or Ganapati or Subramanya or Devi or Saraswati, whatever, in that moment of intense devotion, we are forgetting yourself. It is the same state you are attaining. So it is practically also, it makes sense that at the end of the day, what you are doing, you are worshipping the Brahman, which is supreme, all pervading being. So, yepyanya devata bhakta
येऽप्यन्य देवता भक्ता
yajante shraddhayanvitaha
यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः
tepi mameva kaunteya
तेऽपि मामेव कौन्तेय
yajantyavidi purvakam.
यजन्त्यविधिपूर्वकम्.
Then he says, Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natu mam avijananti tatvenatash te. So I am the recipient and overseer of all yajnas, all rituals, all worships. But those who are unaware of my true nature are trapped in the cycle of birth and death. So aham eva, I am indeed he, sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhucha. So of all the yajnas that are done, all the worships that are done, I'm both the bhokta, the recipient, as well as prabhu, the overseer, the Lord. And he te mam tatvena natu abhijananti atah chavanti. So those who are unaware of this, the essential nature of mind, they are trapped in this cycle. They are trapped in what? In the cycle of birth and death. So they don't come out of that because they don't realize the highest truth. Aham hi sarva yajnana
अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां
भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च
भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च
न तु माम् अभिजानन्ति
न तु माम् अभिजानन्ति
तत्त्वेनातश्च्यवन्ति ते.
तत्त्वेन तश्च्यवन्ति ते.
यान्ति देवव्रता देवान् पितॄन् यान्ति पितृव्रताः भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्या यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम्. So those who worship the devas, they attain the devas that they seek. Those who worship the pitra, the ancestors, they go to the ancestors that they seek. Those who worship the elemental spirits, they go attain those spirits. Those who worship me, attain me. Basically, whatever we are keeping as an ideal and working towards, over a course of time, we attain that stage. So, Devavrataha Devan Yanti. So, the people who are dedicated to Devas, to the various deities, like, Indra, Agni, Mitra, Varuna, Soma, all these Vayu, different deities, they attain that stage of whatever they are worshipping. Then Pitruvrataha Pitrun Yanti. So whoever worship the ancestors, the spirit of the dead ancestors, they attain that level. Bhutejyaha Bhutani Yanti. Those who worship the elemental spirits, they attain that state. And Madhyajinaha, those who worship me, api mam yanti. They attain my state of being. So, yanti deva vrata devan.
यान्ति देवव्रता देवान्
Pitrun yanti pitrivrataha.
पितॄन् यान्ति पितृव्रताः
Bhutani yanti bhutejya.
भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्य
Yanti madhyajinopi mam.
यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम्
Another beautiful verse. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. I happily accept whatever a devotee offers me, Krishna says. A leaf, a flower, a fruit, just water, as long as it is given with love, with devotion, and a pure heart. So, Yaha, one, Patram, a leaf, Pushpam, flower, Phalam, fruit, Toyam, water, Me Bhaktya, my devotee, by my devotee, Prayachati, whatever my devotee gives, offers. Should be Krishna. So whatever he gives, prayatatmanaha bhakti upahritam tat aham ashnami. So whatever he gives with love, with devotion, and with a pure heart, I accept it. Now this is also true, right? When we look at a more practical case, when we have some very good friends, the whatever they give us, we don't expect some fancy gift from like a close friend. They know our heart, they know what we like, and they have their own limitation maybe, but whatever is given by a loved one has great value for us. It may be something inconsequential, but within their limitations they give us something which has a lot of value, much more than what maybe having more material value but less emotional value. For example, many times I used to, when elders used to come to my house, my grandmother's siblings or some older people, they are from a different era. So even like a 10 rupee note, 10 rupees is a lot of money from their point of view. So when they used to come, they used to give a 10 rupee note or a 1 rupee coin. Now, when we are young children, the we didn't realize that why are they giving 1 rupee? What will I get with 1 rupee? But the important thing is that they're offering with that affection and love. So we don't worry about the actual gift what we have received. Even till recently, some 10 years back on my birthday, my grandmother will give me some 100 rupees or some small amount. But it's very valuable for me, much more than somebody giving a bigger thing, because within their limitation, they are giving, offering it with love. So we have ourselves experienced this in our own lives, right? So similarly, Krishna says the same thing. Bhaktya prayachati prayatatma. Okay, I had a doubt. So whatever is offered with devotion and prayatatma, by a person who is purified, and with offered with devotion, with love, this I accept very happily. Krishna says, patram pushpam phalam toyam
पत्रं पुष्पं फलं तोयं
yo me bhaktya prayachati
यो मे भक्त्या प्रयच्छति
tadaham bhaktyupahritam
तदहं भक्त्युपहृतम्
ashnami prayatatmanaha.
अश्नामि प्रयतात्मनः
यत् करोषि यद् अश्नासि यत् जुहोसि ददासि यत् तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत् कुरुष्व मदर्पणम्. So we saw a similar verse in the earlier chapter. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in worship or give it as charity or give up in austerity, dedicate that to me. Whatever actions you undertake, dedicate that to the highest supreme being. We say just Sri Krishna Arpanam, Sri Krishna Arpanamastu, and do it. So therefore, we are not that action, we will be freed, which is what he says in the next verse. So Kaunteya, yat karoshi, whatever you do, yat ashnasi, whatever you eat, yat juhoshi, whatever you worship, yat dadasi, whatever you donate, yat tapasyasi, whatever you give up in austerity, whatever you gain in austerity, either ways, tad madarpanam kurushva. So, whether it is an action, whether it is in eating or yajna, dana, tapas, any of these actions that you do that with a dedication to the Supreme. Right? So, in one of the earlier verses, you saw whatever different action they are doing, the wise people realize that it is the interplay of the gunas. So, similarly, here, whatever actions we are doing, try to dedicate that to the higher Supreme Being, to Bhagavan Sri Krishna. That inculcates a certain culturing of the self, which he'll talk about in the next verse. He says, Yat karoshi yad ashnasi.
Yat karoshi yadashnasi.
Yad juhoshi dadasi yat.
Yat juhoshi dadasi yat.
Yat pashyashi, yat tapasyasi.
Yat tapasyasi kaunteya.
Yat tapasyasi kaunteya. Tat kurushva madarpanam.
Tat kurushva madarpanam.
So whatever actions you undertake, you offer it to the Supreme. Shubha palairevam mokshase karma bandhanaihi sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mam upaishyasi. So now he says living in the spirit of dedication to me, you will be freed from all the bondages of actions. Then the results of your actions, whether they are good or bad, they will not impact you in any way. You will be liberated and will come to the highest. You will come to me. You will attain the highest state. So, evam shubha palaihi, by the result of auspicious and inauspicious, by good and bad results, karma bandhanaihi, of the bondages of action, mokshase, you will be free from all bondages of action. The good and bad results will not touch you because you would have reached a stage where you have stopped thinking, you have transcended the thinking of this is good for me, this is bad for me. Remember in the 5th chapter, we saw a person who has realized he's not overjoyed when good things happen. He is not dismayed when bad things happen. In the midst of all the turmoil in the daily life and all the struggles of daily life, he's able to go beyond selfish desire and anger. He's very peaceful. So that kind of, when a person has attained that state, then he does not require the good and bad results of his actions. He has transcended that. It makes no difference to him because he is involved so fully in every moment in the process that the results are not important for him at all. So shubha palaihi karma bandhanaihi mokshase. It will release you from all these things. Sannyasa yoga yuktatma, the person who has connected with the sannyasa yoga, the path of sannyasa, the path of detachment, vimuktaha, he will be liberated. The person who is liberated, mam upaishyasi, you will attain me. Therefore, you will be liberated and you will be reaching the highest state. So, shubha phalairevam.
Shubha phalairevam.
Mokshase karma bandhanaihi.
Mokshase karma bandhanaihi.
Sannyasa yoga yuktatma.
Sannyasa yoga yuktatma.
Vimukto mam upaishyasi.
Vimukto mam upaishyasi.
Then he says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. I'm equally present in all beings. None is hateful or dear to me. But those who worship me with devotion, I am in them and they are in me. Aham sarva bhuteshu samaha. I am present in all beings. The Brahman is all pervasive, present in all beings. Dveshyaha me na asti, priyaha na. I have no hatred for anybody. I have no love for anybody. There is no special hatred or special love to any. So nobody is hateful to me or dear to me. I look at everybody because Brahman Samadarshi looks at everybody in the same manner. However, ye tu mam bhaktya bhajanti, those who worship me with devotion, te mai aham teshu cha api. So they are in me, I am in them. So they have identified completely. So they have attained Brahma Jnana. So there is no difference between the Brahman and them. They have become one with Brahman. So samoham sarva bhuteshu
Samoham sarvabhuteshu.
name dveshyosti na priyaha. You're muted, Hamsa.
Sorry, sir. Name dveshyosti na priyaha.
I think there is some lag in this thing. Let's start once again. Samoham sarva bhuteshu
Samoham sarvabhuteshu.
name dveshyosti na priyaha.
Name dveshyosti na priyaha.
Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya.
Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya.
Mai te teshu chapyaham.
Mai te teshu chapyaham.
Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha. So even if a man is steeped in evil, takes on to my worship with undivided devotion, he must be considered as noble because he has taken the right decision. So, sa duracharah api chet ananya bhak mam bhajate saha sadhuhu eva iti mantavyah. So, suduracharaha, so even if a person who is steeped in evil, okay, sudurachara. So, durachara is bad behavior or bad, evil, wicked ways. Sudurachara, who is steeped in that, who is so good in being bad. So, suduracharaha, who is steeped in evil, api chet, if ananya bhak mam bhajate, without any distraction, with undivided devotion, if he is able to worship me, which means what? When he's intensely worshipping the Supreme, whether intensely focusing on the Atma, he cannot think of anything bad. So naturally, he will slowly start becoming noble. Bhajate saha sadhu eva mantavyah. He must be treated as a sadhu, as a noble person. Saha hi samyak vyavasitaha. He has taken the correct decision. He has moved in the right direction. So all is not lost. Even if somebody is really problematic, wicked, they also have the potential to realize the Supreme that is dormant within them. We saw earlier also that sarva jnana plaveneva santarishyasi. You can cross over the ocean of samsara with the raft of knowledge. Even if somebody is evil, they can cross over this sea of samsara, provided they have knowledge, provided they are able to immerse themselves in the Supreme Being. What does it mean to immerse oneself in Supreme Being? That means you're cutting away from all evil thoughts, evil actions, evil words. So, apichet suduracharo.
Apichet suduracharo.
Bhajate mam ananya bhak.
Bhajate mam ananya bhak.
Sadhureva samantavyah.
Sadhureva samantavyah.
Samyak vyavasito hi saha.
Samyak vyavasito hi saha.
Okay, we'll try to finish this one shloka, maybe with an extra minute. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. So readily he become righteous and attains everlasting peace. Arjuna, know this, no devotee of mine is ever lost. Even if the man is steeped in evil, the moment he completely engages in worship of the Supreme with undivided devotion, he becomes noble, he becomes righteous, and he attains everlasting peace. So even if he is suduracharaha, kshipram dharmatma bhavati. Very soon he becomes a dharmatma. Once he gives up all the bad actions and completely focuses, he may be serving a prison term. He may be paying for all the old papa that he has done. But from that moment onwards, wherever he is, the moment he's focused on the higher thing, he becomes dharmatma. Shashwat plus shantim. Shashwat shantim nigacchati. He attains everlasting peace. Kaunteya, son of Kunti, metaha na pranashyati iti pratijani. So know this for sure. No devotee of mine ever loses his way. So, kshipram bhavati dharmatma.
Kshipram bhavati dharmatma.
Shashvat chantim nigacchati.
Shashvat chantim nigacchati.
Kaunteya pratijanihi
कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि
न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति.
न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति.
Thank you, Hamsa, for filling in. And we will complete the 9th chapter tomorrow. There are just a few more verses in the 9th chapter. Then we will see a summary of that. And if time permits, we can also start with the 10th chapter. So, thank